Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Soap Scoop. Now, we have a great show coming up for you because there is a special delivery for Carla and Lisa in Coronation Street. Honestly, I'm sure you've seen the pictures already. We're going to get into that. Also, we have a blast from the past for Nigel in EastEnders and Paddy's desperate plan to save Bear in Emmerdale, along with Kerry and Jay's secret workplace passion. So, Chloe, we've got to start with Swarla. Special delivery. We called this a while ago. We said that baby that Rob and Mandy were going to have together was going to be plonked on Carla and Lisa's doorstep, and it's happened.
Do you know what? I'm actually quite shocked, although I don't know why I am, because every time we hear this theory that is surrounding Carla and Lisa, obviously Becky coming back from the dead, all these things that are speculated on end up coming true. I think there are some like Swarla spies out there kind of fishing for storyline potentials. But yeah, I actually, even though it was out there and we knew that Mandy was pregnant, I just didn't think it would happen.
I love the pictures that we've got in this week's magazine of Carla and Lisa's faces as they open the door and they see this little bundle of joy sat down there. What do we think? Because if you imagine, like, Lisa and Carla, they have got this beautiful relationship with Betsy. And Lisa has been there for Betsy all of her life. Carla, however, I mean, we know that she sadly lost a baby during the debacle with Peter and Tina and all of that. So she's never really had a chance to be a mum apart from this latest relationship with Betsy, really. And she's had other children on the street to look after, such as Simon, and she had a nephew Bobby come to stay, of course. So she's been a parental figure, but in terms of raising a newborn baby, this is new territory.
Yeah, and it seems like she's going to struggle with it at first, and there's that, teething problems, early wake up calls, night feeds, that sort of thing. I kind of feel like there'll be a lot of people very happy that were desperate to see Carla as a mum. I mean, we don't actually know how long this baby's going to stick around for. I'm imagining. Are you imagining forever? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Corrie know exactly what they're doing. Fair play to you there in the storyline offices. I mean, is this what people want? I mean, you were saying to me that there's been mixed opinions online. I naturally assumed when I saw the beautiful family setup that this was just solid gold content for the Swarla fans, but you think there might be mixed opinions?
Yeah, I am seeing kind of division in the camps already. We'd love to hear your view either way, how you're feeling about this, because on the one hand, it's like you say, gorgeous family scenario. It's straight out of fan fiction, like it's beautiful, and I think people are going to enjoy kind of seeing the two of them working as a team. Obviously, they've worked as a team with Betsy, but with the baby, it's slightly different, and there's all sorts of sort of fun domestic stuff to be had. On the other hand, is it kind of bogging them down a little bit with like nappy changing and kind of them losing their fun a little bit, losing their edge? I mean, would we rather see them? I mean, I know no one really wants to see them have more kind of relationship drama, but do we want to see them kind of, slapping someone and Lisa arresting someone rather than changing nappies? I don't know.
I think it's going to add a whole new dynamic to their relationship, because as much as I know a lot of people didn't enjoy the Becky chapter, it was good to see them put to the test and how each of them dealt with that situation, then eventually come back together. But this is a whole new ball game. This is, someone like Carla, who has been used to not having a lot of responsibility. She is the ultimate career woman at the factory. Lisa as well has this job that she is married to almost. It's interesting because normally in that sort of relationship there will be one person that stays at home and the other goes to work, but I can imagine not one of them wanting to give up their responsibilities and their careers. So I think this poses a whole new spanner in the works for them, but that is different to somebody cheating or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see kind of, is Carla going to be slightly nervous about stepping into that role, and we're going to see Lisa kind of step up and navigate Carla through this. I think that would be really nice. I would say I'm leaning more towards I'm not that excited about it.
Really?
I hate to say that because I love the pictures. That baby is so cute, and my heart did go. But as a storyline, me, I like my angst, I like my tears, I like the falling out, as well as the coming together. And I love the Becky stuff for the split and that wonderful like 7-minute scene they had where they broke up. I didn't love the reunion because I felt like they could have juiced it for a bit more. This feels, I don't know, I don't know how excited I am about a baby. It's a bit like Suki and Eve in EastEnders. Like, I get the adoption stuff is a leap forward in representation, which is fantastic. And we're sort of seeing them navigate that journey is fresh for EastEnders. However, kids, I don't know how excited I am about kids as a storyline. I think Betsy probably is a more interesting, exciting thing for them to navigate, like her getting into trouble and doing things. Babies don't provide like that much drama. Do you see what I mean?
Do you know what? If Betsy was actually the one that was to fall pregnant, and then that would protect, because you could then have a baby in the mix with Swarla, but ultimately that would be Betsy's responsibility to look after the baby, and Carla and Lisa could go off and do their fun story things. Ever the kind of, I don't know, seeing sort of happy ending vibes, I'm already picturing Carla being so against having to take responsibility for her brother Rob's baby. And let's not forget that Rob kidnapped her and stuff, all that drama with the kidney and everything. I kind of think that it may get to a point where Carla's fighting to have this baby taken back away, and then when it comes to the handover, this outpouring of emotion because she's fallen in love with baby Connie. Let's say her name. I keep saying things like it. But I can see Carla, like, and I'd love to see that softer side to her. And I'm also looking ahead to the wedding and seeing baby Connie in the cutest little outfit.
Actually, I didn't think about that, because she's going to be there. She can be a little flower girl. I mean, it's very cute. Like, don't get me wrong, it's super cute. I just don't know that I'm that excited about cute. It's just me. This is just me. Like I'm, you know me. I love my romance. I love my couples. I'm always excited about the big dramatic couple moments. And I guess like it is satisfying if you're like just you're there for the domestic and the fun and the family stuff, which I am too. Like, I love it. I just think, a baby. Like, what I want to see Carla being Carla. I'm excited to see her kind of mother side as well. But I hope they dig into it a bit more and kind of maybe weave in some of her past in the discussions, and it's not just sort of fixed too quickly. I don't want her to become like super mum too quickly. I still want her to be Carla.
No, I understand what you mean, because I think in general kids in soaps do tend to bog characters down. Even though it's an amazing reflection of real life, it does mean that those children either have to be absent or missing or just off somewhere. I mean, remember in Coronation Street the amount of times that Rosie and Sophie were playing tapes up in their bedroom?
Yeah. And Tracy Barlow back in the day was always upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. So there is that. However, I do think that this is something like I can also imagine as well, like Ryan and Betsy getting really involved in like the childcare. I mean, Ryan, bless him, I know he's got a lot going on at the hotel, but he could be, I'm picturing like Three Men and a Little Lady vibes, but
okay, I love that film, so maybe you've convinced me.
But with these characters,
and I love Ryan, and we're always saying Ryan needs more to do, because he's a fantastic actor, Ryan Prescott, and after the acid attack was amazing, so definitely giving him more to do. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's going to be loads of potential for cuteness, domestic stuff, like just some fun. Maybe it's the lightness that people are craving. I will be intrigued to see kind of where it goes next, because as we know, kind of happiness never lasts too long. So what's going to come and kind of rock the cradle, as it were, next for them as a family unit? And I imagine the answer will be Rob and Mandy coming back for their baby. Or is Rob banged up? So maybe just Mandy coming back for the baby, and Carla taking issue with that. Who knows? But I can't see it being plain sailing. There's definitely going to be some sort of like custody battle or something, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing with Carla as well is that, as we mentioned earlier, she did lose a baby after finding out about Peter and Tina's affair. And there may be lots of unresolved issues with that. So I wonder whether this is a chance. Like you say, Andy may well come back into the picture. I'd love to see another scene of maybe Carla visiting Rob and having it out with him, because I love the character of Rob Donovan. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Mandy will come back, and Carla and Lisa are going to, I think they'll have decided by that point that they're in love with this child, but maybe be forced to hand Connie back. And yeah, I think that's going to be a sad moment for them. But yeah, please let us know if you're fans of this couple, what you think of this development. We all I think we all saw it coming, or at least maybe the Corrie writers perhaps have been listening to us, because I think we've been writing this down for a long time.
I can't think what more twists and storyline ideas we had in the can, because surely that's going to be next. I don't know what other theories we had that could still come true, but there's bound to be more.
Well, Lisa is going to have a big old murder investigation literally the day after.
She's going to be busy.
She's going to be busy. So if the baby's still on the scene, Carla, Ryan, Betsy are all going to have to step up because she's going to be busy, unless this gives Kit the perfect opportunity to say to Lisa, no, you stay at home. You've got a newborn to look after. I'll sort this out because I want your job. Well, that leads us on actually to the flash forward. Chloe and I, we did a bonus episode of the podcast last week to examine the suspects that are in the frame to get bumped off. And the thing that we enjoyed the most was some of your comments. I mean, we were like, the question was, who dies? And all of you were saying, all of them, get rid of them all. So we want to know why, like, you people, you're savage. Why all of them? What do you reckon, Chloe?
Yeah, I mean, we have had sinkholes before, but I'm imagining that everyone just wants them to all sink into the sinkhole and disappear. Because I mean, I guess what Corrie have done is have picked characters who have made a lot of enemies on the street, and who are, some of them are popular viewers, but they're not supposed to be. You know, we're not supposed to like Theo. We're supposed to kind of be wanting to boo and hiss him off the screen. Same with Carl, but without these characters, where would the drama be? Where would the conflict? You know, we love watching them meddle and do evil things because they're enjoyable. It's kind of enjoyable to see people suffer, even though we're thinking, actually, you know, we've quite like to see back of Theo. I'll actually miss him when he's gone, because I think he's so watchable that I'll be like, oh, it's a bit of a shame now. And we've talked about, and we'll talk a bit more about Emmerdale in a minute, but we loved Celia and Ray so much, and actually without them, the human trafficking storyline has kind of dipped a little bit and has become a little bit boring because our villains have gone. Like, the villains are, yes, you know, we might enjoy hating them, but they're actually, they provide so much of the drama that without them it would be a poorer show. So I can see why people are kind of wanting to get rid, because they don't like Carl, or they don't like Theo or Jodie or whoever. But that's, I mean, there's still a lot of mileage in a lot of those characters.
Yeah, don't get rid of Carl. If it's Carl, I'll be upset because
it won't be Carl. I'll prepare to put a tenner on that. It won't be Carl.
I see what you mean about Theo. And I mean, the others, I suppose, are kind of expendable. I don't know. I quite like Maggie. I know you weren't so keen. But yes, I think it's still at this stage, it's still Theo for me, unless they're going to pull the rug out from underneath us, as we've discussed. But what you said about Celia and Ray actually does bring us on very nicely to Emmerdale, because we are in agreement that we are missing those villains. I think that story was so good, and I think it played out too fast. I just feel like you could have had the two of them around for longer.
I wonder, instead of that, I haven't minded the length of the storyline, although I do actually feel like now is the point where it's dragging a bit for me, because we're seeing very kind of similar scenes again and again. Like, and obviously you have to cover the aftermath, but I think they've covered a lot of this aftermath, and maybe, you know, I'm missing what's going on with Charity. God knows, you know, we haven't seen her in ages, and a lot of the storylines that were kind of central to Corriedale seem to have sort of slipped away. And I know, like, there was so much hype around all these big storylines, and then we've kind of looked away from those to then focus on the Bear stuff. And my feeling is, actually, when we didn't see him for 100 days, would it have actually been better to have seen him going through all the kind of, seeing him from being kind of homeless in his car to then, at what point did he meet Ray? How did he get to that point? Because there's a big gap in that. And I feel like, as an audience, we didn't see him for so long, and then we saw him in this awful state. And of course, you know, those episodes were really moving, and we saw all those other people on the farm who have just kind of disappeared. And I think actually it might have been better to follow Bear's journey through the kind of grooming and the human trafficking. We would have still seen the same amount of Celia and Ray, but to actually kind of go on the journey with Bear, because now we're seeing a lot of him talking about it and recovering from it. And I'm kind of like, it does feel like someone's telling me that story, but I didn't see it so much. It just, you know, obviously Joshua Richards, fantastic actor, and it's interesting to see sort of Paddy in this real predicament, but I'm kind of over it now. I feel bound for saying that, because poor Bear's been through a lot, but I'm kind of like, where's the fun? We talked about we've got some Jay and Kerry coming up, but where's the sort of village fun? I'm missing that. It seems to be very heavy at the moment.
Yeah, because this week that we're talking about is Bear taking himself off to Anya's graveside and Paddy finding him and coming up with this plan that involves popping Bear in a mental health unit rather than him go to prison, because of course he's been charged with manslaughter, which is obviously the show's way of keeping Bear out of prison. And also he has suffered a great deal, so it would make absolute sense that his mental health is in absolute shreds. But I feel the same. I'm thinking I kind of just want to move on from this now. And I do miss the thrill of the awful villains, because they really were amazing. And I am actually not impressed at all that the British Soap Awards have been cancelled, because I really felt that story, I hoped it would have done well, actually, because I think Emmerdale has been on fire. They all have, but I was really gripped watching that stuff. And Jay Griffiths and Joe Absalom were just absolutely brilliant. They should have been nominated for Best Villain. So, yes, you will have to vote in the Inside Soap Awards to crown anybody from any of the soaps. But you mentioned Jay and Kerry, who can't seem to keep their hands off each other.
Yeah, well, was an unexpected pairing before Christmas. I think I said that they're kind of like the spare parts, I think I described them as a Boxing Day dinner, because they're the bits, the leftovers kind of put together, because there's no one else really, and they've ever slept together before. But yeah, now I've warmed to the idea. They were quite cute together, quite fun together. The kind of Kerry and Pollard thing is very amusing. Never imagined those two getting married, so that's going to be quite interesting. If they're obviously it's not a real marriage, but if they're having it off behind Eric's back, I don't think he's going to be thrilled. So yeah, they're good fun, and it's a nice reprieve from all the kind of the dark stuff, because I think alongside Bear we've got Cain going through cancer, we've got Moira in prison, we've got Graham just telling Joe to stop interfering in everyone's lives. That we are missing that fun village silliness, and I think hopefully Jay and Kerry will provide that. I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't see them to be in long-term endgame. I don't think it's anything more than a fling. There's been other people that Jay's been with that I've believed a bit more than Jay and Kerry, but I am all here for the hijinks of it. And it did make me wonder, because I think I mentioned to you the other day that I'm very late to the party. I've just started watching The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, and I had no idea what that was about, really. It was just the fact that they were these two amazing stars and I wanted to see them together. But obviously that's all about relationships in the workplace and the blurred lines with being in a genuine relationship with somebody that you meet at work and crossing a line into darker territory. And it did make me wonder, because on this show that the people that are in genuine relationships are having to race to HR and declare what they've been getting up to, and just to get ahead of any kind of narrative that would get them into any trouble. And it did make me wonder, Caleb Milligan, he ain't got no HR. Like Ray and Kerry, he is the HR, yeah.
I must be honest, Caleb's not going to care less, is he? I really don't think he would be bothered. And there's not much choice in that village, is there, really? So you're bound to end up with either someone you're related to, someone who is your boyfriend's sister or cousin. You're going to end up with someone who you work with. There isn't a lot of choice. They don't go any further than Main Street. So where else are you going to find someone to date?
Thing is, though, what about meeting someone that you hook up with at a, I don't know, a soulless depot? Like
there's nothing sexier than a depot uniform.
I honestly think it's all exciting for them, but who do they stand to be caught by? Dylan or Billy?
Yeah, it's not exactly high stakes, is it really? No. But that's why I'm hoping they're going to get caught by Eric, because that's a bit more exciting. Because again, although it's not a genuine marriage, I do think he would be just generally annoyed, especially because it's Jay. I just feel like, we love Jay. We absolutely love Jay. All the villagers just think Jay is the absolute pit. So if Eric found out that Kerry had been having it off with Jay, I think he'd just be insulted that she picked Jay of all people.
Do you know what? I'm in a bit of a hostage situation with Jay as a character, because he is awful, but I love him.
No, I'm exactly the same. I think it's partly Chris Bisson though. It's like 90% Chris Bisson because Jay is such a like a wet wipe, isn't he? He's like he really is. Like he's gone from being kind of quite a nasty bit of work to now he's just a bit of a loser. And I mean, no one's got any respect for him. I think this week Kerry's plan to kind of cover up their affair is to just insult him and mock him in front of other people, which everyone does anyway. Like Jay is like the butt of everyone's jokes. So I do feel sorry for the guy because he hasn't really got anyone now. He's got no family. He's just a bit of a loner, a bit of a loser. And I think we do love him because of Chris. He does such a great job, and I think I'm enjoying the kind of softer Jay. It's not kind of like a drug taking bully anymore, which is nice. But yeah, I'm kind of like you. I don't see the two of them having a long term future, but I keep thinking to myself, who else is there? Who else is Kerry gonna cop off with? There's not really anyone. Although saying that, I did see sparks of Billy, and I think I could see Kerry and Billy again. She's an absolute nightmare, so poor Billy. But Billy's a bit of a loner now as well. So
yeah, I know. Also, as well, like I think Manpreet deserves
yes.
someone, and I quite like the spark that she had with Ross, but I think that is just a bit of a naughty fling. I always wondered whether Manpreet and Jay might get it on because, of course,
yeah, I did.
yeah,
I wondered whether that was the plan at the start because there seemed to be definitely chemistry there. Maybe a bit odd for the actors because they did once play brother and sister in Coronation Street. But when she was dating Rishi, I did think I'm definitely sensing something with her and Jay, and I kept thinking that was going to be the next story, that Jay and her were going to have an affair behind Rishi's back, which would have been the perfect soapy storyline for them, but they didn't go there. Now, like that, obviously Rishi isn't there anymore, but I don't know. Would Manpreet go there? I think Jay is such a loser in their eyes. I can't see her like lowering herself to Jay. I could see Manpreet and Billy though.
yes, Manpreet and Billy for sure. Oh my God, yes, we're putting together all these possible,
We're matchmaking.
not Boxing Day leftovers. This is Christmas dinner, people. I used to really enjoy Jay when him and Charity were together.
Yes, to me they were a fantastic pairing.
Yeah.
Really like spiky and both two chaotic characters. And I think they've tried to kind of emulate that with Charity and Mac, and it hasn't perhaps paid off as well.
No.
Like I almost feel like Charity needs someone with a bit more of an edge, and Mac's great and he's funny, and he did have a bit more of an edge when he joined, didn't he? And they've sort of kind of got rid of that a little bit. He's not like a bad boy anymore, whereas he started out as a bit of a bad boy. So yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see. I mean, I keep harking back to the Charity Baby storyline, but I was really into that, and like, where has it gone? Where is Charity? What is she like? She got so close to the secret coming out, and now it's just Ross is keeping quiet. Like, it doesn't feel like Ross would keep quiet, but
yeah. Well, I mean, this week that we're covering in the magazine, Charity's furious because she finds out about Sarah and Cain nicking cars, and she's looking very heavily pregnant, almost like this baby is coming. So I think the thing with Who's the Daddy plot and it all being covered up, for me, always tends to come out when there is sadly an issue with the baby, like a health reason, and it needs some help from biological parents, which would bring Ross into play. And I agree with you. Mac did have an edge when he came to the village, but he lost it the minute he got together with Charity. I feel like he's just so in love with her, and they've been through too much as a couple, cheating on each other, and Mac has been in danger too many times now, near death experience sorts of things.
So many.
Yeah, I do believe them as a couple. Like, I love that they love each other, but I feel like they've run out of places to go. And when this comes out about Ross and the baby, I think that's them done. I can't see.
They felt very done kind of in the build up to Corriedale, didn't they? They felt like they were a couple literally days away from splitting up. And yeah, I think had Mac maybe not got into the accident, it could have been the end for them. And I don't see the longevity with them, and I do, I don't mind. I don't love them as a couple. I don't mind them as a couple either way, whether they stay together or split up. I don't mind. I'm just looking forward to the kind of explosion. And Charity and Ross is a pairing I love when they revisit, because though I think actually I don't know whether I could see them as a couple, but I do love them sleeping together and then rowing and then having all that banter all the time. They're just so much fun together, and I think that kind of person who pushes every button of Charity is the kind of person that she needs, really.
Yeah, Absolutely. Well, watch this space, because I'm sure once Baby arrives, it's really going to kick off big time for them. And sadly, probably no reunion for Charity and Jay, because once you've locked someone in a shipping container, that's game over. Right. Well, we should move on to EastEnders, because we have a real blast from the past for Nigel, but not a blast from the past for us, because she's been very present in our soapy universe. The amazing Gemma Bissix, who we have chatted to a lot here at Inside Soap, she is just an amazing human in real life, is reprising the role of Claire Bates in EastEnders, while rumoured to also be filming back at Hollyoaks as evil Claire Devine. So she's alternating between the two, and it'll be interesting to see actually what Claire returns to Albert Square for this story with Nigel, because of course, you know, as a child, very sweet, innocent, lovely. Then when EastEnders brought her back some years ago, she was quite the vixen. It was almost like they'd seen her on Hollyoaks as Claire Devine and thought, oh, we'll have a bit of that in Walford. So I'm very intrigued to see which Claire comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. She was kind of a Claire Devine Mark II when she arrived back in the square, which I don't think went down particularly well, or didn't work as anyone had hoped. I mean, we love Gemma and she's fantastic, and everyone was, I think, at the time quite excited to have her in Albert Square because she'd made such an impression in Hollyoaks. But I think it's hard to go from one soap to another when you've been such a kind of iconic character in one soap to then, I know she was in EastEnders first, but kind of as a child you're not remembered as well. And then to go back into EastEnders, it was a bit hard for her because she couldn't be Claire again. She had to be sort of a different type of character. But I think they tried to make her too villainous, too vixen-like. And Claire was, as you say, like quite a sweet child, although I think she did go through a bit of a teenage bullying phase later in her time. But yeah, she was sort of a bit of a disappointment when she got into EastEnders for the second time. But I think with this storyline, everyone has been clamoring for her to come back. Like, I've seen non-stop talk about, you know, if only Claire could come back, because it just sort of doesn't feel, Nigel's storyline doesn't feel complete unless she comes back. So I'm thrilled. I'm so happy that she's back, because I feel like this story really needed it. And I know by this point Nigel's in a pretty bad way. And whether he remembers Claire or not, I think it's going to be hard to say. But I think it's going to be, I'm hoping to see a softer Claire, a more mature Claire. I know they've grown a bit distant, kind of, we've heard off screen that they've kind of grown apart, but I hope this is like a nice kind of closure moment for the two of them, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the other person that's on their way back for Nigel's storyline is Grant Mitchell. I mean, we always welcome the news that Grant Ross Kemp is returning to EastEnders, because such an iconic character, and any chance to revisit the tortured relationship between Grant and Phil. I know Sharon's not on the scene at the moment. She's in Australia visiting Michelle, but there is just the prospect of the idea that Phil and Grant are going to have to revisit the fact that Grant and Sharon slept together just a year ago when he was back in Walford. So I'm very excited about that. What do you think? Do you think there's a lot of mileage for Grant this time round?
Yeah, I'm so pleased, because I mean, that goodbye he had with Nigel was absolutely heartbreaking. But I felt like, again, Grant's another character that just had to be there kind of around Nigel's end. I'm assuming this is kind of leading to the end of Nigel. And yeah, Grant is, I think, I know I saw a bit of like sort of negativity about Grant's return, but I'm just like, why would you ever say no to a Grant return? Like, it's just like Mitchell history. I think, I don't know whether Sam's going to be around, but the thought of the three of them being there all together is amazing. And Mark's there, so he's going to get to actually have some proper time with his son. And I think they've said it's like maybe a short stint, so it's going to be, you know, it's not just one episode and then gone. He's actually going to be there for a little while. I mean, I know maybe, you know, Ross Kemp doesn't want to be an actor now, like all the time, but I get so much sort of joy from seeing him. It's like the nostalgia. It just feels like sounds really cheesy, but it feels like he's come home. It's just like such a nice thing to see him back in the square. And he's just Grant. He is just Grant. And yeah, I'm really pleased. I think, I know not every return ends up being what everyone wants, but there are some returns that just feel necessary to the story. And I think certainly Claire, certainly Grant, they feel like, you know, even like Max's return, I'm loving having Max back. I think, you know, the Brannings at the moment are absolutely on fire. There are some characters where you miss desperately, and when they return, it's like, okay, the show feels like back to how it should be now. Like something's missing when those big characters are gone, and so when they come back, you just feel like it's how the show should be, how the families should be. Phil is a great character on his own, but there's something special when Grant comes back.
Absolutely. I just wonder, because he is back for not just a week this time, whether they will mix up Grant's wardrobe, because last year during the anniversary, he lived in the black leather jacket, which is so synonymous with the character. So don't lose that. But he needs more clothes. Like, he's going to be there for a little while. So I want to see what they put him in. Has he got more?
It's going to be a variety of black t-shirts.
Black t-shirts, yeah, I know. But I love that he's still in his older years rocking the black leather jacket look. I mean, I've got one and I will wear it for as long as I can. But yeah, Grant, he's still got it, hasn't he?
Well, but you say he's still got it. Obviously, Sharon's not around anymore. Do you remember when he was back last time and he had a little brief thing with Linda?
Yes, I do.
Now, I'm thinking, if Sharon is not around, is he going to be setting his sights on Linda, perhaps? I know Max is obviously, sniffing around at the moment, but Linda is single. So
I think Grant may well raise that eyebrow at more than just one Walford woman, and they will instantly get pregnant.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't need to actually sleep with them. It's just a raise of the eyebrow, which is exactly what happened with Linda. I hadn't forgotten that. But I mean, Linda, she could be spoilt for choice, isn't she, if she's got Max and Grant either side of her?
Yeah, I know. Well, she'll be fighting them off. And obviously, there's still big question marks about who's going to be Max's bride. And I think at the moment, my money is like fairly safe on Linda, I think, because I'm still thinking that Linda and Max are meant to be. There's just something about them that I just love, and seeing them kind of with Annie, with the Ollie, just as a little family unit, I'm like, I really am warming to them as a couple.
Yeah, I really enjoy them together, actually. I'm not ruling out, though, that there's got to be some sort of Stacey action in Flash Forward, because for me, as much as I do really like Max and Linda, and she could be his chance of actually settling down and playing happy families, there's just something about Max and Stacey that will never go away for me. And the idea that Lacey Turner is not gone for good, she's just having a bit of a break. There cannot be a big episode coming on New Year's Day involving Max that does not involve Stacey, and indeed even Tanya or Zoe Looker, because Bubbly's in the fridge. But yeah.
I mean, I would love one of them, preferably Stacey, to be the wedding interrupter, because it's just classic. And I think that would be because we don't know what happens beyond kind of Max getting arrested. I can't even remember now what happens. He gets arrested and all of the kind of stuff with Lauren and Oscar. Does the wedding even go ahead? Does he even get to the aisle? But if it does get to that point, I would love to see a last minute twist or surprise or something maybe hopefully they can keep secret, because it's always a shame when these things leak in advance. So hopefully some big twist, and I think everyone would love to see Stacey back. So yeah, that would be a great twist.
Oscar, who you mentioned, is by far one of my favourite characters in EastEnders at the moment.
He's amazing, isn't he? He's absolutely incredible. He's so funny. He's so much like Max as well. And him and Max have had some gorgeous moments. Like, we kind of tortured their relationship, but I just love when they show each other a bit of affection. And it's just like, you can tell that Max doesn't even remember his birthday, but he gets there eventually, and there's just something lovely about them. But Oscar's fantastic character, so funny, so charismatic, and if the rumours are true about what's coming out for him, very excited about that as well.
Yeah, I was going to mention the rumours. So, of course, it's been reported that he is going to be in a love triangle with Jasmine and Jasmine's twin brother, who, of course, are Zoe's children. And we've obviously seen a picture of the twin brother, who is beautiful. And Jasmine, I mean, I don't know, I'm already rooting for the brother, because Jasmine's a murderer and she's caused too much trouble for Oscar. So I'm like,
Jasmine is so unlikable. I wonder whether, if she's had some time inside, she can come out as a reformed character, maybe with a nicer personality. But yeah, my money's on her brother as well, because at the moment I'm like, Oscar, she's too much effort. Like, just forget about her. It's a classic soap storyline. Twins, siblings. There's always going to be a love triangle, and the son of Max Branning, why not? It's perfect.
Well, what a lovely note to end on. Thank you very much for tuning in to Soap Scoop this week. Please do like, subscribe, comment, and let us know what you are thinking about all the things that we have discussed. And let us know if there's anything you want us to discuss, and we can involve you in the conversation that way. But thanks once again from me and Chloe, and we will see you next week.